Hey guys and gals, Greg Howe, S9 Radio. As always, thanks for tuning in and tagging along. And the CPIs were starting to stack up here. There's a trimmer potentiometer, several actually, that are made out of plastic and they lose their tension and become erratic and intermittent. And I really wasn't comfortable shipping these things out without finding these very hard to source trimmers. Anyways, I got them in there. I couldn't find all the values, so I've done a few mods. And here's a what I would consider a really rough CPI. This CPI of Pat's actually took two parts radios to make one good working CPI. I used to have to do this with the Tram D201s. It would generally take two parts radios to make one good one. This is a first for the CPI, and this is 100% attributed to the asshole golden screwdrivers that have no business being inside such a sophisticated radio and botching this thing up. It was quite a long road to get this radio back on the air. In a prior phone call, I gave Pat the option. I said, look, why don't I just throw it in a box and send it back? It's that messed up. Thank you, golden screwdrivers. I have a solder modification I do to all the female RCA jacks on the CPIs. Whether or not I think it needs it or not, these have become so problematic that it's really a matter of time. It used to be just a corrosion of cigarette smokers. This one, and this plug is not loose. That's the actual female. It's a flow soldering type of jack, so it's a mechanical three-piece jack. And apparently this board has had a lot of service because these are normally fairly tight, but still erratic or intermittent. But my God, is that loose or what? So yeah, this one's getting like I say, they all get the treatment. But even back in the day, 20 years ago, before these RCA jacks really became an issue, something this loose would have certainly gotten the treatment. Okay, Patrick, this is the spare receive transmit board that you sent for your CP2000, and I'm going through and recapping it. And even though there's evidence of these gray capacitors having been replaced by the flux residue on the bottom of the board, and they are good quality capacitors, by the way, I don't know when it was recapped. For example, I used this same brand of capacitor over 25 years ago when recapping my personal CP2000s. So not knowing the age of these, I'm going ahead and replacing them with some top shelf caps. So we've got all the old unknown date code capacitors removed. And whoever did the recapping of this, board, keep in mind, this is not the original board for your radio. But anyways, whoever did recap and replace all these gray capacitors missed the very important capacitors underneath these RF shields. And these are definitely original CPI capacitors. So those are getting replaced. And then, of course, your very loose female RCA jacks have all gotten the solder mods. Although I'll be honest, they were not causing any problems, at least not the problems I was experienced with your radio. Like I said, somebody had socketed this, Motorola audio limiting chip. That was a good tell of golden screwdriver activity. So that's been replaced. And then there's some other issues. Then, of course, the trim pots all need to get replaced when the radios reach this age. And I was able to source all of the trim pots required with the exception of this very important 100 ohm trim pot. I have been looking for years on this. So I've got a modification I'll be doing to the other side of the board using some fixed value resistors to, tame this down to a low roar, because these do become intermittent and problematic, as many of the other trim pots. But this one's they're all kind of notorious, but this one really gets a workout. These are a 1/4 watt value, and I'm going to say when people start hot rodding the radio, you're exceeding the power, the wattage of these trim pots. So they're almost always bad because people like to get in here and golden screwdriver and hot rod the radio, thinking they're all Mr. Expert technician, not realizing they're stressing other components. Okay, Pat, just having a look at the finals on your CP2000, and honest to God, this is my first look, and no, I do not have ESP, but remember I was saying, and perhaps there was a little solder blob, I lost it. Somewhere here, there's a little whisker of solder shorting out one of these pads. At least it appears to be. I lost it. It's such a small little thing here. Where did it? It was over in this area. It was over in this area here. Darn it. It is so small. You almost need a oh, there it is. There it is. Can you see that? Right there. And it looks like this was, I've got to flip the board over. I'm guessing this is where a capacitor was replaced. Remember I was saying maybe there was a little solder blob causing this intermittency. Now, I'm not going to swear to it, but this is a good sign. Yep. That may have been your problem right there. I'll put her all back together. We'll see what we got. But as you can see, that solder blob, if indeed it was shorting things out, and it sure looks like it was shorting this section right here to ground. I'm going to do the happy dance and have a beer if I put this back together and that cures your problems. This is what a half century of experience gets you. I mean, here I'm telling you on the phone, maybe there's a solder blob shorting something out. Let me tear it apart and have a look. And what do I find? I'm going to use some bad language here. I shit you not. This was my first look in there. And somehow my eyes were almost drawn right to it. But of course, it helps with these binocular microscope glasses that I wear. But all right, wish me luck. Well, tell me that's not a needle in a haystack. I don't know if you can see the reflection, but that is indeed solder that was removed right from in this connection here. And this is, I checked the other side of the circuit board, it is a new capacitor that had been installed and just had a little, like I say, microscopic speck of solder. Had I not been wearing the Coke bottle microscope Optosun glasses, I would have never seen that. And even with those glasses, that was a tough one. But I figured it was probably something like this. So anyways, Pat, I can't say for sure this is going to cure all your problems, but if I was a betting man, I would be going all in on this. Once again, I don't know if you can see, but that is solder. That's metal right there. And that's what came out of that little connection or whatnot. And I've also gone ahead and put some real thermal grease on. It didn't look like whoever had this apart did that. Heat sink compound. Much better in the junk they sell nowadays. So anyways, wish me luck. Oh, I should also point out, I went ahead and reflowed this mass termination connector here. This is a Molex connector, and it really gets torqued on a lot when you're trying to remove this circuit board for testing or for capacitor replacement. And there were some other solder joints that looked a little marginal and suspicious. So I've gone ahead and cleaned everything up. Wish me luck. Okay, Pat, that little whisker of solder in the final cage was the problem. Now I can make adjustments, and I've got the current limiting fold back circuitry and the power supply set back where it was supposed to be. Before, when I talked, it was on sideband and really peaking it out. It was blacking out your meter lights. The whole power supply was shutting down. So we've gotten around that problem. But anyways, as suspected, there were two different problems. You had this RF problem, just turning, wiping out your power supply with excessive current. That has been cured. But you've got a hiccup in your audio. And I heard this going through a microphone also. I've got you on a signal generator right now. That way you'll be able to hear it better than if I was to whistle or talk into the microphone. So I'm going to go ahead and key it up. We've got about 4 watts on AM on the bird, maybe a little more. Now watch, you're going to hear a hiccup. It's almost like a limiter is kicking in. Hear that? That is not normal. And there is no adjustment for a limiter on here. Whether or not somebody has been in there goofing around, I don't know. Maybe another little whisker of solder that's somewhere it shouldn't be. So anyways, the search continues, but making progress. Okay, Patrick, I've got your replacement receive transmit board installed, and I'm going through and aligning it. And I don't know if you can see this. You get a cracked ferrite. These coils do bind up, but somebody's gotten in there, more than likely with an Allen key. And if you can see that, you've got little cracks. So what happens when you try to adjust this, the whole slug just expands. Fortunately, we've got another coil from one of your other boards here with a good ferrite, hopefully. But the whole coil has to come out. I can't replace just the ferrite because it's stuck in there unless I want to sit there and, you know, chisel it away. That's more time consuming than actually replacing the, what is that, L202 transmitter coil. Another bad coil, Pat. This one isn't broken yet. It's jammed. And it's not allowing me to align your receiver. And there's really no choice but to go forward and do this. Unfortunately, this coil here that I just replaced was over an hour-long process. Jumpers had to be made on the backside of the board, as these boards were not made to be serviceable. The plate through holes and the double-sided circuitry almost always gets ripped up. I expect no less with this, but listen, you can hear this coil's no good. Hear that? Your receive comes in and out. So anyways, that's about, well, this one was an hour labor. This one's a little easier because it's larger, but hear that? Coil's got to come apart. Now, of course, this one I put a new capacitor underneath. But yeah, this one I'm trying to align the radio. I put some special silicone lubricant in there and not having much luck. Oh, do we got some northwest corner sporadic E short skip coming in? Wakey Whack, Big Bear Mountain, Southern California, Mile High Station, SoCal, looking north. Who goes there? And the big question is, are you old enough to remember the Zodiac Killer? Oh, you're talking to him right here. At least that's what the locals call me. Wakey Whack, Big Bear Mountain, Southern California, Mile High Station with cabin fever. Hey, waving NoCal. Hey, how's this? I'm on this old CPI, a CP2000, if you know what they are. They're kind of slim, white radios. It came in for service, a little bit golden screwdriver. Is it sounding okay? It sounds good up here. Okay, can I do this to you? Can I try another one? I got 3 of them stacked up here, all turned on and ready to rock and roll. Okay, this is Pat's CPI. This one goes back to New York, I think. Now I'm going to switch over to one I think is going to Pennsylvania and then Arizona. Okay, Wakey Whack, Big Bear Mountain. This is CPI number 1. I've got them all hooked up to the antenna switch. Just got to swap mics. Okay, CPI number 2. This is Brian's CPI. Going back east somewhere, Pennsylvania, I think. How copy? Hey, well, number 2 is doing a good job. We can't get out the house and trash. All right. Okay. Well, let's see what number 3 has to offer. Let's see what's behind door number 3. Just got to change this microphone. Give me 1 second. Copy. Okay. Here's door number 3. This is Troy's CPI going to Arizona, and it may need some help. It did not. I restored it, but we did not recap everything, so it's got some 47-year-old capacitors in it. How copy? CPI number 3.
Number 3, carrier, but the modulation is super weak behind it. I say door number 2. She was screaming.
Okay, door number 2 was Brian's radio. I can turn the mic gain up. Let me bring the mic gain up a little. Okay, I can see it on the meter. These things, that's the one fault I would give these things, and they were designed by Motorola, but it's really got a hair trigger mic gain. If you go between like 8:45 and 9 o'clock on the mic gain, it's like on or off. So I just bumped her up a little. Now, is that any better?
Oh, yeah, that's a whole lot better.
Wakey Whack, Big Bear Mountain, SoCal Mile High Station 73. Happy 4th to everybody, and glad to hear a little short skip sporadic coming in. I love this stuff.
Hey, Wiggity Whack, you got a copy on 633. Wiggity Whack, you got a copy on 633 down below. We waving.
Hey, thanks for jumping in there, 633. Hey, Carson City, a copy of this old CPI radio, Big Bear Mountain, SoCal calling.
Okay, yeah. I got that CPI at Big Bear. How you doing today?
Nothing good in your town, Ken.
Well, thank you for the comeback. I'm doing really good. You're my first sideband contact. I got 3 of these CPIs here for service. This one was pretty hectic. Had a lot of golden screwdriver action going on in there. Hopefully it's sounding okay. I'm not completely done with it, but I figured I'd get her on the air and see where I'm at. 388 Big Bear Mountain, Southern California, Mile High Station.
338. I think you said 388 Big Bear. 38, we could tie that up, but I probably won't hear you. So I do got to get out. But CPI is making the trip up to Carson City, and good modulation, good signal. I don't bother to pay much attention to the S meter these days, but I hear you, and you sound good. So whatever that's worth. 7-3, catch you another time. 802 in fabulous Carson City, Nevada. I truly am out and moseying around the Ponderosa. I'll be back.
Okay, 802, is this Scott?
It is. Who's this?
This is Greg.
Oh, it is Greg. Well, that's what I was asking, if you knew WikiWhack.
Yeah, I tried to come back. It got real busy in there. Hey, I'm going to switch microphones real quick. I know you're in a hurry. If you could just help me out real quick here. We got some pretty decent conditions. I got 3 of these CPIs in for service. They're all stacked up. I just got to move the microphone over to the next one. If you could give me a comparison check.
Okay, yeah, I'll stand by for a couple minutes. Rest of this frequency, I apologize if I'm interfering with any QSOs, but my so there.
Okay, Scott, I'm tightening down the mic cord. This is Brian's CPI. I believe this one goes back to Pennsylvania. How copy?
You know what? It's I wouldn't know a difference. It sounds identical to the other one.
Okay, now I want to let you hear Troy's. Like I say, I got 3 of these all stacked on top of each other. Okay, let me switch over to CPI number 3, and that will be Troy's.
Okay, I'm standing by.